Good morning, all. I'm absolutely in a total world of my own then. Good morning, all. How are we all? Morning, TikTok, morning, Facebook, morning, YouTube. Not like you, Neil, to be in a complete world of your own. No. You know me. You know me by now. How are we all? Are we all good? It is, what is it? It is Monday, the 21st of July. And we're back. We're in TikTok, we're in Facebook, we're in YouTube. On YouTube, back for another weight loss week. Yes, it is Monday. It's the start of the weight loss week. New set of calories in the bank. Step count is 0. Time to get at it. And what a better way to start it than with, a good live. Now, the first thing I'm going to mention is it is kids' summer holidays. We're probably going to get trolls on the live. Just kids being kids, just acting daft. Don't respond to them. Right? Just don't. If you see any trolley comments, just don't. All they want is attention. Don't give them attention. They'll get bored and they'll move on. I can't sit here moderating all the time. You know me, I end up waffling and end up chatting like mad and this, that, and the other. So that's my first thing to mention. And I will try and mention it a lot when I start the lives up, just to sort of say, just leave them alone. The more you respond to them, the more they'll hang about, the more they'll just talk nonsense. If you don't respond to them, they'll just disappear when they don't get what they want. TikTok now does have like a really good moderation thing where a lot of comments, or a good few comments, if you put some keywords in or something like that, can get moderated, and then I can just put them into the feed. I do miss some of those as well, though. All right. Anyway, there we go. Right. So we do a top 5 on TikTok this morning. Let's see who's in. Callum's in at number 1. Kelly's in at number 2. Faye's in at number 3, Mama Bear's in at number 4, and Mr. John Jackson is in at number 5. Got my top 5 this morning. Thank you very much for jumping on the live, coming and saying hello. Debs, good morning. It's my birthday, going out for a meal tonight. Kelly C, happy birthday, and you know the score. Calories do not exist today if you don't want them to. Jan's in, good morning. Jan, can you just message me the name of your husband? No one else needs to know why. I just need to know the name of Jan's husband. And then I'll sort out. Basically, I'm just doing calories for him. And when I do calories, I use names as the code so I can identify them in the future and stuff like that. So yeah, could you just WhatsApp me the name of? I kind of can guess his surname. I just need to know his first name. And then I'll sort that out for you. I meant to message you this morning. Lise, good morning. Jackie, good morning. Dave, good morning. Hannah, good morning. All good morning. Dan Baxter, good morning. Hope you had a great weekend. I had a great weekend. It's been really, really good. I was out on Saturday with a few mates. Ended up a little bit worse for wear, but nothing major. A little bit rough yesterday morning, but came round in the afternoon. As always, struggled to control my calories. Always do after a few beers. But I'll discuss that in this week's weekly weight loss vlog, which I'm going to record this afternoon. I'm going to record this afternoon. I'm going to finish this live today, and I'm going straight out. I've got a few errands to run, a few bits and pieces to do. So yes, I'll record that, and that'll be out for tea time tonight. Let me scan up and see where we're at. Jambi, okay, we'll do, not a problem at all. Best time to have a B-day on a Monday so you can fix cals from the week. Yeah, I mean, it's one of them, isn't it? You know, if you go, you know, I always like to lay the foundations for a good weight loss week. For me, a week is Monday to Sunday. And I always have that philosophy where, you know, we shouldn't be buying things on a credit card. So what I mean by that is if you do have a higher calorie Monday or a Tuesday, you know, you've got to pay it back for the rest of the week. And whenever you're trying to pay something back, you're always going to be chasing your tail, right? It just kind of is the way it works a little bit. So we can look, but you can also look at it the way Dan said, you know, if I don't have the best Monday, Tuesday, I've got another 5 days to rein it in. 100% you have. So we should always try and put a positive spin on things. But it's Kelly's birthday today. If it was my birthday today and I'm going to celebrate it today, I'm going to go out for a nice meal, this, that, and that. What would I do? Calories just wouldn't count for me. And what I would then do is, for the rest of the week, Tuesday to Sunday, I would just work. So let's say you eat 2,000 calories a day. That's 14,000 calories a week. I just wouldn't count today. I'd just work to 12,000 calories instead of 14. I'd just take today out and I'd just try and stick to 12,000 over the next 6 days. right? Doesn't matter what you've had today, right? It's your birthday. You can go and enjoy it. Yeah. My weight loss has plateaued. Do I need to drop my calories even lower? Absolutely not. Right? Like Stacey, I don't know why your weight loss has plateaued. So first things first, if your weight loss plateaus, maintains, you get a weight loss stall, and it's 4 weeks or less, you don't change a thing. Just crack on doing what you do, right? Because all you're seeing there, or there's a reasonable chance that you're just getting a bit of a fluctuation. If your weight has maintained or stalled for more than 4 weeks, so week 5 or week 6 of getting on the scales, then like I have no idea how you've been losing weight. Your body doesn't change that fast. Your body doesn't change that much. So generally, if we've gone several weeks where we've not seen any change on the scales, what we are doing has changed. So let's say we were consistently losing weight, I don't know, April, let's say from middle of March to the middle of June, I was consistently losing weight. And then from mid-June to now, the scales have hardly moved. What you were doing has changed. And the main reason for that is your approach to weight loss, what you're doing. You're trying to eat too fewer calories, right? Well, what's the main issue with eating too fewer calories? For anyone on this planet, right? If you eat low calories, you lose body fat, right? It really is that simple. Even if you are quite light and you get metabolic adaptation, otherwise, people that have disordered eating habits, or countries where we have famine, no one would be underweight if your body stopped you losing fat if you didn't eat enough, right? So that's just a load of nonsense. So if you're like, I'm eating 1,000 calories a day, I've been doing it for 2 months and I've not lost any weight, you haven't been eating 1,000 calories a day. It just that's the thing. And the more and if we're being inconsistent eating 1,500 calories a day, how do you think your consistency is going to improve eating 1,200 calories a day? It's like saying to someone, right, I need you to save you earn £2,000 a month, and I need you to save £250 a month of that £2,000. And at the end of a couple of months, you're like, how much have you saved? Nothing. What? I've not saved anything. So you earn £2,000 a month and you've not saved £250 a month. Right. Well, what we're going to do now is to get you to improve your spending habits. You're now going to earn £1,750 a month. So I'm going to reduce your monthly income and expect you to be better at saving money. Ain't going to happen. Right? Just ain't going to happen, is it? If you can't save £250 earning £2,000 a month, how the hell are you going to save £250 earning £1,750 a month? So if you can't stick to 1,500 calories a day consistently, how the hell are you going to stick to 1,200? Yeah, this is people saying, but why a lot of people do that is they don't realise that when they're trying to stick to 1,500 calories a day, they're actually eating 2,000 calories a day or 2,500 calories a day. Good morning, just back from Spain. Hope you had a great holiday, Stefan. What's your thoughts on the gym Prolux? Want to start doing a bit? I have no idea what it is, Kelly. WhatsApp me and I'll look into it for you. Are you at pre-holiday weight now? I'm a pound up. So again, I'll discuss it in my weekly weight loss vlog this evening. It'll be at about 5 o'clock. Weighed myself on Friday and I am 7 pounds down. So I was exactly 7 down. So I'm 1.1 pound up from holiday. Is that still a little bit of body fat? Could be. Is it just a fluctuation? Could be. Not bothered. More than happy with where I'm at. So yeah, not a million miles away at all. And this is why, I had a great 9 days holiday, didn't track a single calorie, and literally two weeks and 3 days after getting back, I'm at my pre-holiday weight. So it's just put a little pause button on my journey. We should be happy every now and then for a little pause button on our journey when we go and have a great 9 days holiday, With PCOS diagnosed, what's the best way to lose weight? Same way everyone else loses weight. PCOS does not make a difference to weight loss, right? Directly. It honestly doesn't. I've coached loads of females to successful weight loss journeys that have got polycystic ovaries. And when you actually, we get boundaries in our head that shouldn't be boundaries. We get these things in our head where it's like, I've got this, so I can't lose weight. Very, very common with PCOS, very, very common with the menopause, right? And no, neither of those two things directly, right, affect fat loss, right? If you get two twins, right, two twins, obviously they have to be female to either have PCOS or the menopause. Let's do PCOS. Got two twins, both 25, identical twins, both 25, both 5'5", both 16 stone, right? One's been diagnosed with PCOS, one doesn't have PCOS. If they stick to 2,000 calories or whatever, they stick to a 3,500 calorie a day deficit consistently for 12 weeks, they'll both be 12 to 14 pounds down. Where something like PCOS might actually be an issue, same with the menopause is, indirectly, the hormone imbalance of polycystic ovaries can make it slightly trickier to be consistent with sticking to a calorie deficit, right? Now, we do have a trend of females that have PCOS and have a weight issue. I'll be honest with you, those females will probably have a weight issue whether they have PCOS or not. We can just sometimes put 2 and 2 together and get 5. What hormone imbalances with PCOS can make it harder to stick to a calorie deficit? Well, it's just, obviously that's what PCOS is. It is a hormone imbalance. Now, I know, like, obviously with the polyps and stuff like that, there are like physical things that happen with PCOS, but the main thing is the hormone imbalance. And it can make things like periods worse. It can make certain cravings worse. It can kick your bum a little bit with fatigue a little bit. So if you think, well, cravings can be a little bit worse, that makes it harder to control calories, right? If periods can be a little bit worse, they can be a little bit all over the place. When they happen, they can last for a couple of weeks rather than a couple of days. Little things like that can massively affect eating habits. If you are struggling with fatigue, you're going to be struggling with motivation. That in turn can lead to more emotional eating. It can mean to less movement, which can mean to less calories. So there are a few indirect things. But what I found with a lot of females that I've worked with that have polycystic ovaries, when they actually realize that directly it doesn't, it takes away that boundary. And once you take away the kind of mental block of, I can't lose weight because I've got this, it kind of helps with the consistency. And then just putting my philosophies into place, healthy, sustainable calorie allowance, trying to move more on a day-to-day basis, get your protein in, get your fiber in, get your hydration up there, look at weight loss in a much more healthy, sustainable fashion, and you'll get the results, I've had, in the last year, I had a lady that came to me. She was 15 stone, right? PCOS, never been able to lose weight. Yeah, she was 11 stone at the end of the year. She dropped 4 stone in a year. And we didn't do anything special. She just stuck to my plan, Face another one, that is 100% true. Did it for me. The misinfo was definitely not helping before. And it becomes a psychological boundary. I have so many clients that I work with that have psychological boundaries. I can't get past this weight. It's just a psychological boundary. So when we get down to that weight, it is literally like, we get down to that weight and it's like, I can't lose any more than this. So we just kind of self-sabotage. It just increase when we feel we've got something going on in our body that just makes it impossible to lose weight, we just self-sabotage more. It really is that simple. Kevin on YouTube, morning Neil, week off work last week and a boozy Friday, but still came in 2,000 calories under for the week. Back on track the next day, although it was tough. Yeah, and sometimes, Kevin, I mean, that's low, mate. Considering all I would say there, Kevin, is, and it's something you're one of my clients, so I'm always going to keep an eye on you. I'm very, very conscious of over restriction. And if you've had a week off and you are 2,000 calories under what I've set, that's over restriction, right? It just is. I do set healthy, sustainable calorie allowances, and I never want people to force themselves to eat. But, you're on the verge. I would say the calories that I set for the week we shouldn't really be going any more than 10% should be absolute top whack if we're going to go under. Right. And like I say, I set these calories for a reason. It's not just a random number that I've picked out, because although eating, I'm eating loads less calories than what you set, short term might give you better results on the scales. Long term, it will massively increase the risk of crashing and burning on a diet, which we don't want to do. But Kevin, let's see where you're at. Obviously, when it's your check-in, you're very early in terms of being on plan, and we'll just keep an eye on that. I've lost 5 stone with PCOS. The only difference I noticed was the intense. Yeah, exactly, Rachel. So that's what I'm saying. Indirectly, but lots of us have lots of indirect issues when it comes to weight loss. Right. So some people have indirect issues, which is kind of out of our hands. Very similar. The issues with PCOS are very similar to the issues that a lot of females struggle with when it comes to the menopause. Right. Again, fatigue, cravings, mood swings, a lot of emotional things going up and down in the body. And if we've always used food as a coping mechanism, we've got those things going on. And again, if you're fatigued, lack of motivation, maybe overtiredness, all these things are a negative emotion, again, which can ramp up emotional eating, but I'm glad you had a nice week and you enjoyed a bit of a boozy Friday, Kevin. That is all good. And that's what we should be doing. I had a boozy Monday. I didn't come in 1,500 calories. I'm about 800 calories over my ideal deficit. Now, I'm currently putting myself in about a 7,000 calorie deficit a week, which is top whack, right? That is a big calorie deficit. I'm still eating 2,600 calories a day to be in I burn a lot of calories. I burn about 3,600. And the more calories we burn, the slightly bigger the deficit. The more calories we burn, the more calories we can eat. And therefore, bigger deficits are more sustainable. But still, I am top whack. And I have to fully, so although I've got about 800 calories over what I class as my current ideal deficit, I'm still in a 6,000 calorie deficit over the week. That's still a pretty big deficit, even though I've had a very calorific weekend. Anyway, like I say, I'll go through that in my weekly weight loss vlog. I want to start eating more fiber. What's best ways for foods I can get that? Do you know what? I've done lots of videos. These are foods that are high in fiber and this, that, and the other. One thing that when we recommend foods for people to increase protein or to increase fiber, what we can never understand is personal preference or personal taste, right? So I could list 10 foods that are high in fiber, and the person I'm listening to might go, I don't like them. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. Right? So if you want to increase, look, whole grains have got more fiber in them. Fruits and veggies have got more fiber in them. Now, fruits where you eat more of the skin, or you eat seeds, or so like strawberries, got a decent amount of fiber in. Raspberries as well, apples, oranges, reasonable amounts of fiber. Things like pineapple, mango, where you peel the skin, you don't eat the skin, has got a lot less fiber in there. Beans and pulses are absolutely amazing. Baked beans, mushy peas, can't go wrong. Green leafy vegetables are always pretty decent with fiber. They're pretty decent with protein as well for veg, so things like your broccolis and your cauliflowers. But the best thing to do if you want to increase your diet with fiber is just go onto Google, go onto ChatGPT. Hiya, could you tell me 10 foods that have more than 3 grams of fiber per 100 grams? Ask ChatGPT. Bang, it'll come up with a list like that. You can then just go for that list and go, oh, I love broccoli. I love strawberries. I love all bran. I love bran flakes. I love baked beans, right? And then just single out the foods that you enjoy eating and just build those into your regular diet, right? And then that'll massively increase your fiber intake, yeah? Because like I say, I can sit here now and go, is all the foods that I eat for fiber, and you might be like, well, I don't like any of them. So, yeah, just honestly, Google can be your best mate at times. Right, let me scan down and see what I'm missing. But have you been super duper strict since you've been back? Has it? No, I never change anything. I never go super duper strict. It's literally one of my philosophies of weight loss. We never go to an extreme. Do you know what I've done since I've been back from holiday? Done what I did the last 6 months. As long as I'm not on holiday, I've not changed a thing. Right? When I'm on holiday, I don't track a single calorie. When I'm in this country, I track my calories as accurately as I can, and I stick to 2,600 calories a day. I've done no different coming back from holiday than I did in January, February, March. I never go super strict. And in the last, if I go through, so to lose that 7 pounds of holiday weight, it's not all. I've lost 4 pounds of body fat because of the deficit I've put myself in, and I've lost 4 pounds of body fat because of the deficit I put myself in, and then I was obviously carrying at least 3 pounds of excess food weight, water weight still from holiday, which is also gone. And so I weighed myself Friday morning. I've lost 7 pounds. So since coming back from holiday, right? Have I been super strict? Absolutely not. Watch my weekly weight loss vlogs. I go through what I eat. I go through my calories. So when do we get back? So we got back from when did I weigh? We got back from holiday on the 28th of June, and I weighed myself on Friday the 4th of July, and that's when I was 8.1 pounds heavier. On Friday the 4th of July, I ate a Greggs sausage roll. Would you class that as being super strict? On the Saturday, I had a Greggs Belgian bun. Right. I also, from my local Italian, had a 12-inch pepperoni pizza. I also had some cookie pie and ice cream after that, which was 700 calories. On the Sunday, I had some crisps. We got a Greggs Too Good To Go bag, which I put on my social media. So I ate a chunk of that. And then last weekend, Saturday, hang on. Last weekend on the Saturday. I ended up making a chicken Caesar bite, but I also had half a portion of Chip Shop chips. And then on the Sunday, did we have a takeaway? Oh no, we did a barbecue on the Sunday, but I had 500 calories worth of crisps on that day as well, and 500 calories worth of Cadbury's fruit and nut, all within my calories. So no, I never go super strict. Never have, never will. Right, just get back to doing what you do. Yeah, and that's what I always say. The weight will just you get back to doing what you should be doing consistently. The weight will sort itself out. Karen H, good morning all. Maureen, good morning. I found the fishing party sauce too. Absolutely love it. So good. You've had a great year weight loss wise. What have you done differently this year? The biggest thing that I have done differently this year is I've not boozed on the head. And what I mean by that is I've not quit drinking because I had 10 pints on Saturday, right? I didn't have 10 pints actually. I had 3 bottles at my mate's house watching the rugby, which is like a pint and a half, isn't it? Then I had 2 pints of Madry in the pub, and then I went to my mate's barbecue and I had 5 cans of Coors Light. So technically that's 10 beers. Pints probably works out about 6 pints in because cans are 440 ml. And bottles are 330 ml, aren't they? So that's what I had. But overall, that is only the 5th time I've had a drink in this country. Now, I've had 3 breaks away. I've had a week all-inclusive to Egypt in March. Beginning of May, I had 4 days in Fuengirola for a friend's 50th. And then we've just done at the end of June, Benidorm for a week. So I've had 3 breaks away. And on those holidays, I've not tracked a single calorie. It's been a bit boozy. It's been a bit food-based. In this country, I have had 5th of April was my mate's 50th, and I had a few beers. Mid-May, I had a barbecue here, and I had a few beers. Easter weekend on the Sunday, I had a few beers, and then this Saturday just gone. So I've had 4 days where I've had a couple of drinks. That's it. Other than that, and I just find if I drink alcohol, I find it very, very hard to control my calories, which I've proven this weekend. Last weekend, I'll tell you the difference. So last weekend, I drank 0 alcohol and I ate 3,900. I ate 6,900 calories for the whole weekend. Right. The weekend before that, drunk no alcohol and I had 7,100 calories over the weekend. The weekend before that was on holiday. The weekend before that, I had 7,000 calories, no alcohol. The weekend before that, I had 6,200 calories, no alcohol. The weekend before that, I had 7,100 calories, no alcohol. This weekend just gone, like I said, I've just had a few beers, and it's not the alcohol from my alcohol intake, my calorie intake from alcohol was 1,600 calories, right? But including alcohol, overall this weekend I've had 8,500 calories. So previous to that, 7,100. So I've had 1,400 more calories than I would do normally. Right. On top of that, my movement's been rubbish these last 2 days. I think I did 8,000 steps yesterday, which isn't terrible. I did 6,000 steps on Saturday. I did 14,000 steps. Now, the last few weekends, and I say rubbish, it's not rubbish. That's just me being a bit harsh on myself, but it's not what I normally do. So I've just been a lot more consistent, and that's what I've done. That is my main difference. I've not quit drinking. I've just massively knocked it on the head. And now, over the next 6 weeks, we've got a few bits and pieces on. It's summer. So, but what I've planned in is weekend on, weekend off. So we've got nothing on this weekend. Weekend after that, we're round at a friend's house, bit of a barbecue. That'll be a couple of beers. Weekend after that, nothing on. Weekend after that, we're out with a couple of friends for a bit of a night out for a birthday. Weekend after that, nothing on. Weekend after that, going away for my birthday. So, and then once we get into September, October, November, we've got one holiday in October. But other than that, when I get back from October, from our holiday in October, I then won't drink until Christmas. Yeah. So I've just been more consistent. I've just been a bit more accountable and more consistent, Guys, you guys that are on my one-to-one plan, can I share my diary with you to look over? I don't want to crash the burn. Yeah, Kevin, we can sort that out. Not a problem at all. You guys on the one-to-one plan, I'm going to drop you a message today. So I've been working on this for the last couple of weeks, just umming and ahhing about what to do with it. So my philosophies around weighing has been to weigh fortnightly. That's what my clients do. They weigh every 2 weeks, right? And why do I get my clients to weigh every 2 weeks? Because a lot of us that have a weight issue, and I work with people yes, there are people that feel they have a weight issue, and I do work with people that don't have a lot of weight to lose, but the majority of my clients are obese, right? And they've got, quite a big weight issue. And alongside that, they have a very unhealthy relationship with weight loss. So my job as a weight loss coach is to improve overall relationships with weight loss, improve relationships with food, the scales, calories, movement, just improve everything so we're in a much happier and better place. And that in turn will increase consistency. And, I've made a lot of mistakes on my own weight loss journey. I've still lost a lot of weight, but because I've made a lot of mistakes, it allows me to coach you guys so you don't make the same mistakes. And I get so many people that come on board. They weigh daily, they're jumping on the scales all the time. And, the closer we weigh together, the more fluctuations we see. And yes, we need to understand those fluctuations. And I talk about them all the time. But even we can understand why the fluctuations are, but we've still got such an unhealthy relationship with the scales. When we step on them and see them go up, we just think we're fatter, right? And and we get annoyed and we get frustrated. And I've had clients this week that have done check-ins this week, like, oh, I weighed 3 days ago and I was £4 lighter, and I've weighed today and I'm £2 lighter. I'm like, you've lost £2 in 2 weeks. That's amazing. But because you stepped on the scales 4 days ago and just caught them at the right time, it's giving you what we call a false positive. You feel like, and weight loss isn't linear. And you're like, I should be £4 down and now I'm only and you're unhappy. But if you'd not gone anywhere near a set of scales from 2 weeks ago, right, and you got on these scales today, you'd have just done a £2 loss. And you'd have been like, great, because that's what we're trying to lose on average, £1 a week. So, and what I found is, I always, I say we have an abusive relationship with the scales. They can be very, very good, nice to us at times, but they can be very, very horrible to us at times. And when you've got an abusive relationship, the best way to sort out is just to take a step back from it. Just take a step back. Now, with the scales, we need to use the scales. They're a great way of tracking progress if used in the right way and our mindset is right about them. Anyway, so my philosophies have been, get on the scales every couple of weeks. That's what I started to do. I've done daily weigh-in, I've done weekly, I've done this, I've done that. And I found that when I took a step back from the scales and I was consistent with what I did, and I just jumped on them every couple of weeks and logged my weight, I saw way more positive things that I want to see from the scales than not. And it just, was all good. Once you get a healthy relationship with the scales, you can weigh yourself as many times as you want. Anyway, let's cut a long story short, right? I literally, over the last, I'd say 12 months, right? I've moved about 5 clients from fortnightly weigh-ins to weekly weigh-ins, right? I had one client ask, this was about 12 months ago, and I've never done this before. I've always fortnightly weigh-ins, fortnightly weigh-ins, fortnightly weigh-ins, yeah? Fortnightly weigh-ins, fortnightly weigh-ins, fortnightly weigh-ins, right? And client Dan, he's on the live now, and Dan, about maybe 6-12 months ago, he was struggling a little bit. He just come back from holiday, he had quite a big bump on the scales from his holiday, and he was like, can I move to weekly weigh-ins just for a bit of extra? Go on then, let's do it, right? And like I say, my thing about him, why we weigh fortnightly, is just to pull you away from that abusive relationship. And then if you get on the scales, whatever happens on the scales, you're checking in with me, and I'm there. I'm your coach. I'm your support. I'm there to kind of get you to understand why the scales are doing what they're doing. And in all honesty, kind of been thinking about this. Anyway, when Dan moved to weekly weigh-ins, his results improved, right? His results improved because he's just got a little bit more accountability there, a little bit more, maybe a little bit more outside pressure, as it were, because I think, are there some negatives to weighing fortnightly? Of course there are. There's negatives and positives to anything, but as long as the positives outweigh the negatives, then I'll run with it a little bit. What are the negatives to weighing fortnightly? Well, you are going a couple of weeks where, and I think some people can get that, oh, well, I've got 2 weeks now till I get on the scale. So they give themselves, how many of you guys do this? When it's check-in weekend, you have a massive blowout because you've got ages until you need to check in again. Now, I think that happens whether you weigh weekly or fortnightly or anything like that, because, it's the old Slimming World mentality. You go Thursday night, you'd weigh in, then you go and smash a big McDonald's in. You might have a night out on the Friday, and then you're like, right, I've got 5 days to get my act together before I have to get on the scales in front of Barbara again in a few days' time. So I don't think that makes a difference how often we weigh. I just think that happens. But you are going 2 weeks with that, and you also put in a lot of, and again, I teach my clients about this. A lot of people, though, they put a lot of expectation on that single weigh-in, and if you weigh in on the Friday and you don't get the result you want, you then got to wait till 2 weeks to weigh in and try and get that result back. But for me personally, I'm like, no, look, we don't base our success of our journey on an individual result on the scales. We base the success of our journey on what we do over time, right? And again, these are sort of my philosophies that I try and teach my clients, so they don't put too much emphasis. However, whenever they decide to weigh, right? I'm also fully aware that although I get my clients to weigh fortnightly, they don't stick to that. They jump on here, there, and everywhere. Anyway, let's try and cut a long story short. So I moved Dan to weekly weigh-ins and he did pretty good. This year, I've worked with another 4 people that have struggled for a bit of accountability, struggled just for a bit of consistency. I've moved them to just for a short period of time, moved them to weekly weigh-ins just to kind of pull them back into the game a little bit, give them a little bit more focus, a little bit more accountability, a little bit extra support from me because they're checking in with me every week rather than every fortnight. And overall, 4 out of the 5 clients that I've moved to weekly weigh-ins, right, have the results improved. And not only did the results improve short term, after 6, 8, 10 weeks, and I went, right, let's move back now to fortnightly weigh-ins, right? And their results kicked on. Nothing regressed backwards. Dan was the same. Dan moved to weekly weigh-ins. And then when we went back to fortnightly weigh-ins, he was still getting some decent results on the scales. Anyway, so I want to do a trial, just a little trial. And this isn't needed for everyone. If you're currently smashing your journey, everything's going great. If it ain't broke, we don't fix it. But I'm going to run a trial for 10 clients. I'm going to message you all later on and see if you want to jump on board. But anyone out there that's on my one-to-one plan, right? Anyone that's on my one-to-one plan, I'm offering a trial. 10 places I'm offering. So it's limited to move you to weekly weigh-ins for a couple of months, for about 8 weeks, right? And what I'm looking for is people that are maybe just struggling a little bit for consistency. So struggling a little bit for consistency, just to improve their accountability to weekly weigh-ins. And what I'm going to look at is weighing weekly. You're going to check in with me. I'm looking at our results going to improve, but his mindset going to change from moving to weekly weigh-ins than fortnightly weigh-ins and this, that, and the other. So, I'm going to open up 10 spaces for 10 clients to move to weekly weigh-ins instead of fortnightly weigh-ins. Now, this is going to increase my workload, which I'm more than happy with. So there is going to be an additional fee for it. I can't do it for nothing, which will be £20 a month while you move to weekly weigh-ins, right? Which I don't think is unreasonable, right? Because instead of getting 2 check-ins a month, you're going to get basically 4, maybe 5, depending on where it works in. So that is I'm going to be honest with you with that one. So, it will be an extra £20 a month, which, like I say, and I'm going to run a trial. And in all honesty, if it works, what I then might do is I might open up a standard plan and then maybe a premium plan where the standard plan is fortnightly check-ins at $29.99 a month, and then a premium plan that's weekly check-ins at $49.99 a month. Because I also have to appreciate if my clients are checking in weekly, I have to work with less people because of the increase in workload, which is why I need to charge a little bit extra. All right. So, and I'm just going to run it for about 8 weeks. We'll see where we get to with that. And then after 8 weeks, we'll do a phased return, which is then for 4 weeks. You'll still check in weekly, but I'm not going to log you'll still check in and send it over, but you're not going to get feedback. I'll do a double feedback. So we'll do week 1 and week 2 in one hit, and then you'll move back to fortnightly and we'll just see. I'm always open to changing my plans a little bit. Of course I am. If my ultimate goal is to get you guys to have a successful weight loss journey. So, So that's what I'm gonna trial it. So I'm gonna WhatsApp you all. I'll broadcast it out to you guys that are on the one-to-one plan this afternoon. I'll broadcast it out. I'll send it out to you, and then message me back if you're interested. And I'm going to be honest with you. I am looking. It is more for people that need that extra accountability. So even if you're smashing your journey and you want to do it, message me and I might look and go, do you know? Because maybe I might try it with a couple of people that are actually still doing really good, right? And let's just see. I'm never ever going to move permanently to weekly check-ins for people. You will get, but then if it works, it's just an extra it's just an extra little service that I could. So if I see people struggling a little bit, I say, right, I'm happy to move you. But like I say, I'm going to do it with limited spaces because it's going to double my workload, basically. If that makes sense. Can I do it being on MJ? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It doesn't matter what what tools you're using, whether you just don't think you do it. It doesn't matter. It honestly doesn't. It doesn't matter what you're doing. And in fact, if you're on MJ again, it's just an extra little bit of part of the trial, isn't it? So yeah, I'll message you all this afternoon. And then it's not going to be a first come, first serve thing. It is going to be a little bit, and I don't want to be, I'll be honest with you guys. If I'm like, I don't think you need it, and there's no point you spending an extra 20 quid a month with me if you don't need it, if you're doing great as it is. But some of you might need it. Some of you might just want it for, and then I'm thinking, some of you might be like, I've got a big holiday in 2 months and I really want to stay on track, or I've got Christmas coming up in 2 months. So even though you might be doing quite well, it is just a bit of extra accountability and support. I'm going to trial it. We'll see how it goes. If I don't feel that results have improved or I feel that, results might have improved, but because you're getting on the scales too much, your mindset and your relationship with weight loss isn't doing great. Then again, I'm not going to compromise one thing I'll never compromise something just to see results on the scales. Too many people do that with weight loss. Too many people get people to crash diet, do ridiculous amounts of exercise just so they can go, look at Dave. He lost 20 pounds in 20 weeks, or he lost 20 pounds in 3 months because I starved him, or I did, Anyway, that is something that, I've been thinking about. So I'm gonna. I love weekly. I stray on 2 weekly, as you know. And again, I'm fully aware some of you some of you weigh weekly, but then check in with me fortnightly to keep your own accountability. I know that, right? I know that. So, but I just thought we'd offer it as a trial. Anyway, if you've listened to me now, and you're like, I'd like to give it a go, drop me a message, but I will broadcast it out anyway this afternoon as well and see if anyone fancies it, and then we can sort of put a plan into place to get you on it. Yeah. Are making smoothies genuinely good for you? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it depends how you make them. Do you know what I mean? I know there's a lot of demonization around like blending fruit, certainly from something like Slimming World. Why smoothies are quite calorific, or they got people go on about, they're dead high in sugar. Look, fruit has sugar in it. It has fructose. It's naturally occurring sugars in fruit. And, this is the thing about freshly squeezed fruit juice. You've literally got the juice of 12 oranges in one little cup. And it does take things like fiber out and stuff like that. Now, if you put whole fruits in, so you put your apple in with the skin on, your pear with the skin on, your orange with all the segments and stuff like that, and blend it up, you're keeping the fiber, you're keeping the thing. And eating 5 or 6 pieces of fruit blended down in one hit might mean you take on board quite a bit of fructose, which is, like, say, the naturally occurring sugar in fruit. In the grand scheme of things, that won't cause you any issues whatsoever. Because what a lot of people that demonize things like smoothies is, what they don't take into account is things like all the antioxidants that are in there, all the vitamins that are in there, all the minerals that are in there, the fiber that's in there. Like I say, if you're just going to use the flesh of an apple, the flesh of a pear and peel them, and you're just going to juice the orange, you're going to take out a lot of the goodness. But a good quality smoothie that you might, and again, on top of a smoothie, you can add a blob of, some like Greek yogurt in there, which is going to increase the protein. It's going to put live cultures into your gut and stuff like that. So, yeah, smoothies can be fantastic. They can be really, really healthy. 100%. 100%. Animates, morning, everyone. Goes on easier than it comes off, doesn't it? It can feel like that. I think I covered this in my latest podcast. We actually lose weight way quicker than we gain weight, right? But it just is it easier? Is it easier to get in terms of speed? We lose. Anyone on this live now can comfortably lose 4 stone in a year, right? Not many people gain 4 stone in a year. You gain 4 stone in a year or the next 3 years, you'll be 12 stone heavier. Doesn't really happen like that, you know. And I always say this to people, you know, if you want to see how fast we lose weight, what did you weigh 5 years ago compared to what you weigh today? Right now, I'm not saying over the last 5 years you've not been through periods of weight loss and then had periods of weight gain, but let's look at averages. And you might go, well, 5 years ago in COVID, I weighed 14 stone. I now weigh 16 stone. That means you've gained on average 2 stone in 5 years, right? You can lose that by Christmas. So we can lose weight a lot quicker. Is it easier to gain weight than lose weight? Of course it is. It's miles easier to overeat than it is to undereat. And that's kind of what we're trying to do in a way, you know? It is. But it's all about accounting, you know. Sometimes I always say this, there are no easy answers. There are no easy answers. I'll be totally open and honest. You know, I had a client that messaged me. They come on board with me, and and I've not done this thing with weekly. I was actually planning on doing this before this client messaged me, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to put it out today because of this client message. And he said, I've come on your one-to-one plan. It's not quite what I was looking for. I need daily interaction from a coach. Straight away, my mindset is if you need a message every day from someone to lose weight, you don't want to lose weight. That's the honest truth of it. That is the honest truth of it. If you feel the only way you can lose weight is by having someone chasing you on a daily basis, how have you done today? What have you been doing today? You don't want to lose weight, right? You like the idea of losing weight, but no one, it's like saying, I need every day my manager to message me in the morning to make sure I go to work. You don't, right? And if you need, if you need so much outside pressure, you need to have a chat with yourself and say, how much do I want this journey? Because I think, and because this same client that came on and said that, when they first came on board, it was like, I had a coach, they did this and the other, but they charged me stupid amounts. And I'm like, well, what do you need then? Because again, if you want someone like me to message you every single day, I'll charge you £200 a month for it, because that's what coaches charge that do stuff like that. But genuinely, now, if you're someone that is a bodybuilder and you're going into prep and because you're going on stage in 12 months and you're doing something that is brutally tough, like cutting calories, training, trying to dry out, get as lean as possible, yeah, you might need that. But you will pay a bodybuilding coach for that support, 1,500 quid for 12 weeks. I've got a mate that does bodybuilding competitions. It's not for me. And when he pays his coach £300 a month. When he's in prep, it's £500 a month. But that's the money he dedicates to his sport because he loves it. And his coach is there. His coach has a FaceTime with him for 10. But if you want to pay me like £10 a day for a 10-minute phone call just to have, not a problem. I personally don't. But I don't need. I'm not that, because my clients aren't doing anything that punishable, and we have to accept we've got to have some sort of. Basically, if you're saying you need chased every day to lose weight, you've got zero self motivation, and unfortunately, you've got to have it. You've got to have some sort of want and drive in yourself to have this journey. Right now, I fully appreciate, like I've just said there, maybe for certain people that are really struggling, moving from fortnightly to weekly check-ins. I think, but again, it will never be a long-term thing, because again, you shouldn't need that outside pressure because you should have a want and desire to want to do this for yourself. Right? There has to be that little bit of balance. And as you further go into the journey, that want and desire, your knowledge around weight loss should be improving anyway when you're working with a coach. And I noticed that from my community. I've got clients that are in my community now that have been with me for years. And when I scan through my community and someone will come up with a question, I don't need to answer it, because my clients that have been with me for years and years and years answer it, because they've improved their own knowledge and they've took the support on. And the want and desire will improve as you go along. It generally will. But at times, we falter a little bit. At times we just need that extra little pick-me-up. Tina on YouTube, I think the option of weighing weekly at a time when it's needed is a great idea. Like you say, when struggling or before, yeah, so maybe it's just, you know, we just ramp things up a little bit just for a couple of months. And then move back, or even, you know, maybe not up to an event, because, you know, I found people that, very common one, people that are getting married, the self-focus when people are getting married is about the best I've ever seen with people. The issue is when that self-focus has gone after the wedding, that's when I find a lot of clients. So maybe it's after the event has happened. So yeah, I'm getting married in front of 100 people. I bought a dress, I bought a suit. I want to feel the best on my wedding day or whatever. I've spoke about weddings. I do have a lot of philosophies around weddings, but this is people's mindset. And that self-drive drives people on to be consistent. What I find is so many people go at a wedding so hard that they crash and burn straight away. As soon as the wedding's been, bang. And then they go back. And my philosophy is then around things is, you know, you've not got married. It's not you. And this is where I get so many clients that, you know, like, I want to be the same way I was on my wedding day. I'm like, that focus, like, that wasn't you on your wedding day. I see it so many times. And then next thing, you're just looking back at your wedding photos for the rest of your life, going, I want to be that weight again. I was like, just remember how miserable you were to get to that weight, right? I'm not saying you were miserable on your wedding day. It should have been the happiest day of your life. And I'm not saying you didn't look $1 million and feel $1 million. But to have that self, you know, there's not many things that give us that self-drive. Do you know what I mean? That's like through the roof sort of self-drive, if that makes sense. Anyway, we had the grandkids yesterday. It's so nice to play with them now instead of being bedbound. Brilliant, Kelly. I'm glad things are improving. Neil, the operation went really, really well. Surgeon in the hospital, amazing. But the lack of pain meds was barbaric. It's flipping painful. It's painful, Carly. I know I've talked about this before. Carly's been for bariatric surgery for skin removal. I've had 3 skin removal operations. It does hurt. I couldn't take tramadol. It affected my breathing, so all I had was ibuprofen and paracetamol. So bad, but thankfully the pain's nearly gone and I'm so mobile. I'll send you pictures. Not a problem at all, Carly. I'll be honest with you. My first operation on my chest, I got a blood clot and I had to go in for second surgery, and I actually had a bit of morphine after that. My second 2 operations, once I left hospital, which was like the next day, I only did ibuprofen and paracetamol. They did give me codeine, but I never took it. I never took it, but it is painful for about a week. I found it for about a week, and then it just becomes very painful when you move and stretch the scars. That's when or the cuts. That's when you sat down, you're fine. When you're in bed, you're fine. It's if you sit down for an hour and then stand up, it's like a bit of a burning sensation. I don't know how to describe it. Josh, morning, Neil, have you tried the Whey Hydrate from Perform? Funny, you should say that, Josh, because no, I haven't, but I have bought some. Not the powder. I've actually bought some of the pre-made drinks. They're in the back there. They've come with this month's this month's worth of calories stock. So I haven't tried the powder, but I have got some of the pre-made drinks. I'm going to stick them in the fridge. I will try one today, and I will let you know. It's funny, the pain though from skin removal. It's a bit like having a tattoo. It's really painful, but it's a little bit addictive all at the same time. I don't know how to describe it. It's really, really weird. But it does hurt. It does hurt, but it's well worth it. It's well worth it. I never want to be my wedding day weight ever again. Think I was the biggest then. Hey, and do you know what, Dan? Yeah, I suppose it swings and roundabouts with it, but yeah, I do. I see so many people that do crash diet for a wedding, and I get it. I do get it. I understand it. You know, I do get it. But it is that there's only certain periods of time where we have to have some sort of oomph to get you going. You can't drag us along as a concept. Exactly. I think that's what I was trying to get at, Karen. And like I say, don't get me wrong, maybe at the start of your journey, you might, and then, again, with if I started offering weekly check-ins, like with some sort of like kind of premium plan, it probably just would be for 3 months. And I say, right, for 3 months, it's going to be $49.99. And then after 3 months, once you're in the routine, once you've got used to plan, we'll then put you down to fortnightly check-ins. I also, on the other side of that, I might offer something where people go to 4 weekly check-ins. So, I might get clients. I'm working with quite a few clients now that have hit target weight, right? And they're just maintaining. They still want to work with me because they don't want to regress. They want to keep an eye on things and this, that, and the other. But it might be a case of, do you know what, Neil? I'm just going to start weighing once a month, and then I'm just going to check in with you once a month. Can we do a little bit of a deal on my subscription at once a month? I'd be like, yeah, that's right. If you were only going to check in with me once a month, we can maybe knock you a little bit off from that. So yeah, just offering different levels. And I think for me, I'd be like, how do I keep on top of it? Well, that's my issue, isn't it? I'm just going to create. I have basically an active sheet, and then I'll have. I'm just going to split it down to. I'll split it down to fortnightly check-ins, weekly check-ins, and then when you move from weekly to fortnightly, I can swap you over. When you move from fortnightly, I can swap you back in. So anyway, like I say, guys, if you're on plan and you would like to. That's a fab idea, gold, silver, and bronze kind of thing. That's how I started off. It is how I started off. It's amazing how things come back. When I first started, and I think some of you that still work with me now, Hannah that came on the live earlier, who's number 8, who's like my oldest, not oldest as in age, please don't take offense, Hannah, has worked with me the longest. Clients 1 to 7 have it. So when you come on plan with me, you get a plan code, and the number of your code is the number of sign-ups. So for example, this week I've got 2 people signed up to start a week today, and their plan code is 844 and 845. So they're my 844th and my 845th client in 4 years. So Hannah that was on the live is plan code 8. So she started with me like week 1 or week 2 in 2021. So she's worked with me for 4 years. And when I first started, in fact, I'll tell you now. I'll tell you what I used to do. I didn't do a monthly subscription. I did a bronze, silver, gold. So you signed up to bronze and it was 3 months. You signed up to silver, it was 4 months. You signed up to gold and it was 5 months. And Hannah's first plan was, I've not even got it logged down. I then changed it to, I can't remember what Hannah signed up to. She then continued with me on a monthly subscription sort of thing. But Hannah started with me on the 17th of May, 2021. So she's like over 4 years we've worked together. And we've updated plans and this, that, and the other, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I started doing bronze, silver, and gold. In fact, when Hannah signed up, I probably didn't do bronze, silver, or gold. I probably just did one plan. I probably just did like sign up. I remember it was just 3 months and it was 75 quid for 3 months, one-off payment. That was it. And then I moved to bronze, silver, and gold. And then I've moved down to monthly subscription. So and then I moved to monthly subscription in 2022. So things have evolved. Things need to change. So so it's just kind of different options where people can, they might depend on where they feel they're at, and that can change. Like I say, it can get to, got something on in a couple of months, or I just feel like I'm struggling a little bit for the last couple of weeks. Right, well, let's move you to fortnightly, to weekly. You're flowing now. You're doing really, really good. Let's move you back thingy. You might be like, I've hit my target. I'm dead happy. I'm going to go to, can I just check in once a month? And then 6 months down the line, you might be like, I feel like maybe I've gained a couple of pounds back. And right, well, let's move back. So yes, it's a bit more work for me, but that's just, part of evolution, as it were, of plans. So I'm not going to run before I can walk. Let's just do the trial for weeklies. So like I say, I'm looking for 10 of you guys to move to weekly plans. It will just be an extra £20 a month. If you have signed up for a year, right, I'll just send you a payment link to cover a little bit extra. So I do have some clients that pay for a year up front. And it'll just be an extra little bump for a couple of months while we get you moved to weekly. If you're currently on monthly subscription, I'll just change your sub. I'll just pause your original sub, and then we'll just put the extra on. So drop me a message if you've listened already. But I'm gonna WhatsApp everyone. So yeah, I'm not gonna do the monthlies just yet. Let's trial weekly, and then put weekly in, and then put the fortnightly is just going to stay as is. Guys, if you want to come on my one-to-one plan, if you want to be one of my one-to-one clients, you can get signed up. Next start date is a week today. I've got 2 signed in, so there's 3 spaces left if you want to start with me a week today. Got a couple of deals on at the moment. On my monthly one-to-one plan, which is fortnightly check-ins at the moment, when you come on board, is half price sign up. So 15 quid to get signed up. And then it's $29.99 a month. I ask for a 3 months commitment to that. If you don't want to pay monthly direct debit, you want to commit, you want to get at this, the biggest offer I've got on at the moment is my yearly one-to-one plan. You can get it. It's normally, so if you pay for my monthly plan, standard plan, over a year, it's 390 quid is what it equates to over 12 months. I offer that for 325 for a one-off payment. You can now get that for 260 quid. Right? It's going to run for another 4 weeks, maybe, up until towards the end of the summer holidays. So I know the summer holidays are starting, maybe 4 to 6 weeks. It'll end August, it'll end the last week of August. 260 quid, one-off payment, right? 260 quid, one-off payment, and that is you covered until this time, well, for another year, till the end of July. And you're sorted. You have 25 check-ins minimum. We can still look at bumping you up to weeklies if you need it. 25 check-ins minimum, because we check in every 2 weeks. We don't check in over Christmas. No one needs to go near scales over Christmas. So yeah, one-off payment. If you'd like to sign up, come on plan with me, or just need more details, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, find my link tree. It's all over my social media. It's in my Instagram bio. It's in my TikTok. It's on my Facebook page. It's on my YouTube page. Click on my link tree. First tab in my link tree is an inquiry form. So you can just send over an inquiry form. Hi, Neil. Cindy on YouTube, Cindy on TikTok. Can you send me details? Just interested in the summer deals. I'll email you directly. Or if you click on the shop in my link tree and click on monthly plan or yearly plan, all the details are in there with the codes to get the discounts, and you can get signed up, and we will get you going a week today. Right, guys, that's me for this morning. I will be back this evening at 8 p.m. I got a few lives, got a couple more social media lives this week. So Wednesday morning, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, because our Everything Weight Loss session is Wednesday night at 8 p.m. this week. So I'll do a social media one. And then Thursdays for the summer holidays, I'm not doing an extra. I normally do 2 weight loss coaching lives one week and then one the following week. I'm just going to do 1 a week for the summer holidays, 11 a.m. Tuesday morning. We sort of chill things out a little bit for the summer holidays because people are and then September we'll get back in. But what I'm going to do Thursday evenings is I'm going to put a social media live in. Now this week it's just going to be on TikTok. So I'm going to take Rachel to work and pick her up after work on Thursday. So I'll be in the car, so it'll just be on TikTok. But if I'm in the office, I'll do TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. So Thursdays over the summer holidays, around tea time, it's 4:30, 4:15-ish. I'm going to try and slot in another, like TikTok, Facebook, YouTube live, just for a bit of an extra hello. That's it. Right. It is a new weight loss week. It is Monday. The sun has just started to shine. That is the sign. New set of calories in the bank. Steps are 0. Let's get at it. Lay a good foundation. Get at your Monday. I always think, if you have a good Monday into a good Tuesday, you're not chasing your tail. It doesn't mean every week's going to be like that, but most weeks, more often than not, have a good Monday, have a good Tuesday, sort your calories out, get your steps in, and just lay that foundation, and then hopefully the rest of the week will just follow suit. That's me for this morning. So yeah, I will TikTok. I'll sign off to you first. I will see you at 8 p.m. this evening. Have a great day, whatever you are doing. And then over here, Facebook, YouTube, same. I'll be back 8 p.m. this evening. Have a great Monday, whatever you're doing, and I'll see you this evening.